Hello friend, we will be starting for the subject materials and metallurgy. So there are important two words are there. One is materials and second one is metallurgy. We know what do you mean by materials, right? For any engineering applications where we are using these materials or different types of materials in day-to-day life. So in Marathi it is called as any padartha or it is also called as a dhatu, right? And then second is metallurgy. Then if you go through the dictionary, you'll get the meaning of metallurgy is the scientific way of study of the particular material, or it is also called as dhatu shuddha karnache shastra. Means what? You can improve the properties of the material by different way. It is nothing but metallurgy, right? So this subject is very important in case or for the engineers. The knowledge of this subject is very important in case of design problem. If you want to design some different system, then definitely you should know what are the different parameters required to select the proper material for the different application, right? Okay, so we'll move forward. The first sentence it is written right, that need of materials in every segment of life. So this is right. For every segment of life we need materials of different types. Means for day-to-day life or normal life we may require naturally occurring material like wood, maybe stone, right? Or some different material, that is we can call it as a clay. But when we are moving through the engineering problem or engineering applications, we need some different materials. We'll see later what are the different types or what are the different materials that can be used for the engineering purpose. So very important thing is we need material for every segment of the life, for every day-to-day life. Which type of materials we are using? That is naturally occurring materials. Normally wood, stone, clay and skin, right? Then what happened? Then as the time passes, the man found the technique to produce the material from natural one, right? Means by using, means there is an evolution or improvement in the materials, like naturally occurring materials was present. Then man found out the technique to improve, to produce the material from what? The naturally occurring material, right? That means pottery, it is also called as another materials that can be metals, right? Then the third important questions or third important part, it is this one. The science found out to alter the properties of any material by a heat treatment process. That is very important part, right? Because if you are having any metals or any other materials, by some techniques, more important is by heat treatment process or addition of any other material as a secondary atom, how to increase or how to alter the properties of different object, right? This is very important. So always remember that this one is a third sentence, discover to alter the properties by heat treatment process or an addition of the other material. And this is what the basic object of this particular subject, right? Means if you are having a common material, if you are having the normal material, the science or engineering tells, or it will give, or it will teach us how to improve the properties of the given material by some different techniques. What are the different techniques? We can add any other materials, or we can go for the heat treatment process, right? Then what happens? Next, discover the relationship between structure and, very important, it is properties, right? We know what they mean by structure and what they mean by properties, and this is very important, right? Changing the properties of different material. How we can change? Means to change property something, it is required to change something, right? That means you have to change the structure of the materials. Means there is a big relationship between structure and property. You remember this one, very important. This is a very important part. There is a relation between structure of the particular material and their properties, right? Then you have to remember this one is a basic block diagram. Very important block diagram. In block diagram, first element is processing. The second leads to structure. Third leads to properties, and last leads to performance, right? Means if you process the material properly, you will get the proper structures, right? The structure of any material, that is depends on processing, right? Means if you process the material in right manner, you will get the right structure. And if there is a change in the structure, and structure leads to change in the properties, right? Means properties are depends on the structure of the material. Then already we have gone through the physics. Those who are from 12th standard, or those who are from the first year engineering, that is structure will be different types of crystal structure that we have seen, right? If you change the structure, then definitely there will be change in the properties, right? And if the property leads to the better performance, right? If you are having good properties, then performance of the particular object or particular material is good. Otherwise you will not get the proper performance, right? If the material is showing the resistance to the environmental condition, definitely it will be work in the that is in a harsh environment, right? So always remember, these are the 4 blocks and 4 important aspects of the material science and engineering, or materials and metallurgy. One is processing, one is structure, there is second one is properties, and last one is performance. Then how it is connected? If you process the material in the wrong way, you will get the wrong structure. There's no proper structure you will get, and definitely you will not get the better properties, and at the last you will get the wrong performance, right? Then what do you mean by structure? The structure is nothing but internal arrangement of the atoms, internal arrangement of the molecules, internal arrangement of the any material, that is called as a structure, right? It is having some different level. In subatomic, first one is subatomic, second one is atoms, and last one is a group of atoms. I mean, in atomic level, in atoms definitely there is presence of the electrons, right? What are the arrangement of the atoms, what are the arrangement of the electrons inside the atom, that is plays a very important role, right? Then arrangement of different atoms with each other, right? And last one is group of atoms arranged in the particular material, whether it is properly arranged, whether it is randomly arranged, that will define, or that will give you the end result, that is proper structure or different structure. That is Definitely there are different types of material, that is crystalline material. It's crystalline material having proper arrangement of the atoms or unit cell, and non-crystalline material there is random arrangement of the particular unit cell, right? Means if you process well in the right manner, you will get the proper structure, and then definitely will get the better performance, right? So it is very very important, means to have a good structure we should have a good processing to follow the particular material, right? Then properties, right? And property is very very important, that it is very important, that it is required, right? Means in some cases, if we consider for the vehicle, the front part of the vehicle, it is called as sometimes it is called the bonnet, right? So bonnet, the material of that particular bonnet is very hard, right? If there is an accident is happened, no scratch is found out, where or no scratch is going to be there on this particular bonnet. Why it is? Because material is relatively very hard, and that property what we are required, that property depends on the structure, right? Then properties, what it is written, independent of shape and size, right? So what it is written, properties of the material, it is independent of the shape and size. What are the different properties? There is mechanical property, there is electrical property, there is thermal property, magnetic property, optical properties, and last one is a deteriorative property, or it is called as a chemical reactivity property, right? So properties is classified into some different way. That is, one is mechanical property. What is a mechanical property? We can call as a strength or stiffness, right? Or toughness or ductility or malleability. That is nothing but the mechanical property. Then what is electrical property? That electrical property is nothing but the conductivity of the particular material. Then what is thermal property? Is we can call it as the thermal conductivity of the particular material, how it is going to respond for the heat. Then magnetic property, this is nothing but the response of the material to the magnetic field. Means if we impose the magnetic field over any material, how that particular material is behave to the applied magnetic field. And next one is optical property, right? If we impose the light over this particular material, how it behaves, right? That is nothing but the optical property. Last one is deteriorative property, right? Means nothing but a chemical property, or it is called as a means if suppose any material is exposed to the environment, right, then definitely there will be corrosion for the particular material, right? Means the material is sensitive to the environment, right? If it is comes into contact with another material or any other harsh environment, whether it is reactive to that particular environment or not, right? That is very important. That is called as a deteriorative property or chemical property, right? So these are the different type of property, right? If you are getting the better property, you will get the better performance. That is very important. In case of the vehicle, if you are from the automobile engineering, if for any vehicles, if we process each and every component of the vehicle in proper manner, you will get the proper structure of the material, you will get the better properties, and at the end you will get the good performance from the particular component or particular vehicle, right? If there is a mistake in the processing, right, definitely there is mistake in the internal structure, that will lead to the properties, and that will go for the performance. So always remember, right? So these are very important. Is for whole we are studying materials and metallurgies, always remember any property that always depends on the internal structure of the particular component, right? Means if you want to change the properties, if you have to improve the property of any material, what to change? We need to concentrate on structure, right? We need to change the internal structure of the particular material, and then definitely will leads to the change in the properties, right? And to change the internal structure, what we require, the processing. We need to find out the different process to change the structure of the particular material. Okay, so we'll move forward. Sorry. Then two important one is material science and second one is material engineering. So material science is what? In material science, to find or investigate the relationship between structure and property, that is the main aim or main motto of the material science, to find out what are the relationship between structure and properties, right? That is very important thing, right? Means for proper arrangement of atoms, what will be the properties, and if there is not proper arrangement of the particular atoms inside the material, what is the output of that material? That is very important thing, right? And second one is material engineering, right? Means design the material for predetermined set of properties, right? Means what? In material engineering, will define what we require at the end. Means we require the hard material, we require a soft material, we require a ductile material and the output, right? So to achieve this particular output as a set properties, you have to design the particular material. That is, means you have to process the particular material. We need to find out the proper processing or proper process to get the set properties for the particular material. That is the point, or that is the aim of the material engineering. Means in science, they will investigate the relationship between structure and property, right? Then in engineering, exact working, exact processing is happening over the particular material to achieve the set properties, right? Then next we will go to why study material science, right? Why study this particular subject? This is very important. So listen it very carefully and always remember throughout your life or throughout your engineering, right? Why it is required to study material and metallurgy, and always remember this subject is very much important, right? In every part, if you want to work with any industry, right? In everywhere, in electronics, in electrical, in computer, in mechanical, in automobile, everywhere they are using materials of different types, right? If there is material, definitely there will be some proper structure, proper processing, and having some different performance, right? So always remember this subject is very much important. It is somewhat hypothetical, but it is very easy, right? So why we study materials? The important thing is always remember, if you want to design any component, right? If you want to design or develop any system, मीन्स अगर आपको नया कंपोनेंट बनाना है, बराबर, अगर आपको प्रोपेलर शाफ्ट बनाना है, अगर आपको पिस्टन रॉड बनाना है, अगर आपको पिस्टन बनाना है, एनी कंपोनेंट इफ यू वांट टू डिजाइन, देन फर्स्ट प्रोसेस इज सिलेक्शन ऑफ द मटेरियल, एंड दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? मीन्स first step while designing of any engineering component, first you have to decide the material, right? And that material will be decided on what? The properties, right? What properties are required for the particular application will give you the direction which material is suitable for this particular application. So always remember, the selection of the material is basic steps while designing or developing some different systems, right? So selection of the materials depends on what properties are we required, right? Then what are the different parameters or what are the different criteria can be used while selecting the material. How you can select the material, that is very important thing, right? Suppose some questions can be asked during the exams or any other or anywhere, right? So what are the different criteria can be used to select the particular material? So first one is in service conditions, right? Means service condition on the particular component or system will decide, right, about which type of material we need to use, right? So that is its properties required for the operations. What are the properties required for the operations that will decide which type of material we need to select, right? If we require the hard material, corresponding material we can choose. If we require the soft material, right, understood, then definitely that particular type of material we can select. Means we should know what is the condition of operation, right? That properties required for the operation, that is very important. Then second one is deteriorative properties of the materials. Already we have known properties are classified into different type. One of the properties deteriorative properties, right? Then what it is effect of temperature and environment of the particular component, right? So what it is mean? Deteriorative is nothing but you can call it as a corrosion, right? Means suppose if any of the component is working in high temperature, right? If you take example of the furnace, अगर आप फर्नेस का एग्जाम्पल ले लेंगे तो फर्नेस की जो भी फर्नेस होता है, जो फर्नेस का जो मटेरियल है बराबर है ना, सो डेफिनेटली व्हाट विल बी द टेम्परेचर ऑफ दैट at that situation, maybe 1000 degrees centigrade, right? Or any other component which is working and which is operating at high temperature and corrosive environment, right? Then definitely we need to find out the material which nullify the effect of temperature and environment. That is very important thing, right? Means if any material comes into contact with, suppose high temperature is 60 degree, 40 degree, and what happens if that materials start deforming for that particular temperature or that particular environment, then there is no use, right? So definitely effect of temperature and environment means in simple language जो भी कंपोनेंट हमें डिज़ाइन करना है, जिस कंपोनेंट के लिए वो हमें मटेरियल खोजना है, वो कंपोनेंट जहाँ भी आपको लगाने का है, जहाँ भी आपको यूज़ करने का है, वहाँ की कंडीशंस क्या है, वहाँ का टेम्परेचर कितना है और वहाँ का इन्वायरमेंट कैसा है, दैट इज क्लीन इन्वायरमेंट और दैट इन्वायरमेंट कंटेन्स सम डिफरेंट केमिकल component, maybe sulfur, carbon, any other thing, right? So definitely you don't need to take that particular conditions into account, right? अगर वहाँ का temperature 30 degree, so we'll go for the different material. अगर वहाँ का temperature 100 degree, 200 degree centigrade है, so definitely you have to go for different components, right? वहाँ का environment corrosive environment है, तो definitely आपको अलग material और अलग processing आपको करना पड़ेगा, right? So one is service condition, second one is deteriorative properties of the material, and last one and very important thing is cost, right? The cost is a very important component, right? Means what will be at the end, what will be the product cost, what we are designing, what will be the cost of that particular component, that is economics, right? So that will depends on this, how much amount of cost is suitable for the particular component, that will again important while selecting the material, right? Suppose अगर हम एक कंपोनेंट डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो कंपोनेंट जो भी कंपनी और जो भी कस्टमर लेने वाला है वो ज़्यादा कॉस्ट और ज़्यादा रुपीज़ आपको नहीं देने वाला है, सो डेफिनेटली, राइट, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, you have to find out, you have to make adjustment between properties and particular cost. अगर customer is giving you the more amount, right, then definitely you will get the better material for the particular better, definitely that will give the better property. If the customer is not able to give you the more amounts, right, then you have to find out the material in such a way that you will get at least better amount of the particular properties, right? So definitely that economics also affect the selection of the particular material, right? So everyone understood why it is required, why it is required to study the material and metallurgy, right? So definitely if you doesn't understand anything else, so definitely आप वीडियो पॉज कर सकते हैं, वीडियो को फिर देखो और definitely try to understand what is the main aim or motto of the particular subject. So what you have studied, we'll revise it again. So first one in material metallurgy, then what is, we name material in every segment applied. Initially there was naturally obtained material, then what happened as the time passed, there is change in the particular techniques. Then the techniques come to produce the different materials. Then important thing is how to alter the properties of different material by heat treatment process or addition of the other element. Then more important, the man or scientist has find out relationship between structure and property, and these are the very important block diagram. Processing leads to good structure, that leads to the good properties, and we'll get the better performance. And what we mean by material science and material engineering. Science leads to find out the relation between structure, property, and engineering to how to process that particular material for the set property will decide by the engineer. Why study material science? So in design problem, or if you want to develop some different systems, we need what? Material, and that is the basic steps of the any developing system. If you want to develop some different things, and how this material is selected, one is considering the service condition, what properties are required for the applications, then what are the field variables, right? What are the temperatures, how was the environment, how is the environment of that particular application, that will be considered, and at the end cost of the particular product, right? That cost you have to take into consideration, right? Okay, thank you. So try to revise this concept. If there is a problem, we are there to help you. Thank you.